Here's the thing. A lot of Christians don't realize that relationship with God, as described in the scripture, is impossible to attain apart from the church. Not just difficult, impossible. And that shouldn't be offensive. That is basic New Testament. There might be some radical exceptions, like John on the island of Patmos, or Athanasius exiled from Alexandria, but they're not the rule. And we should never try to recreate their situation on purpose. But without the sacraments, without discipleship, without a cruciform community built around serving others, and without a collective approach to God's mission, you don't have Christianity.
Okay, now there's nothing wrong with going to church, and there's also nothing wrong with not going to church. What there is something wrong with is telling people that you cannot have relationship with God outside of the building of church. This is incorrect. This entire video is incorrect because it glorifies a building. God does not live in buildings. And although he did live in the tabernacle before, it was never his intention. His intention was always to live inside of human beings. So do you need to go to a church in order to be saved or live a good Christian life? Absolutely not. You do not need to go to a building or submit to a preacher in order to fulfill God's will in your life. You don't need any sacraments. There are no rituals that will get you to a closer relationship with God. That is unbiblical. Now, you should go and find friends who love God and who will push you towards a better relationship with God. People who are going to hold you accountable when it comes to sin. People who are going to hold you accountable when it comes to your own character. Absolutely. God absolutely wants that. And that will help you grow spiritually. But to say that you cannot have that outside of a building is absolutely so wrong. Okay. First off, the building that we have today and the model that we have today of the church in America is anti-biblical. It is actually just a reforming of pagan ideologies. The church that God established on the earth, they met in people's homes. And sometimes they were just a family. They were literally just one big family in a house, meeting together, fellowshipping, eating together, loving each other. That's all it was. You don't need 1,000 people. In fact, it goes against what God is actually trying to form, because the whole idea is having communion and relationship with other people that can hold you accountable. So when you go to a church that's got 1,000 members and all you do is you go there and you sit down and you listen and you leave and you never talk to anybody, you never build any relationships, it's a detriment. It actually does the opposite of what it's supposed to be doing. So small